Good Wednesday morning. This is Billy Storms, pastor of Covenant Church. It's the last day of March, and this is a time in our church's life where we are preparing and getting ready to move, and we are living in a world where still intermingling and being out in public can be a very traumatizing and a very difficult thing. But I continue to kind of prepare us to see our way clear, to know that in our move, the church has always been a pilgrim people. We've sadly, when the church tends to be associated with a building, it loses its vitality. When it has to be encamped among humanity and find where they live, sometimes it grants to us the capacity to find our footing again and find our passion again. And that seems to be the story that I'm going to share with you this morning from the book of Acts, the 8th chapter. The Luke writer of Acts says that in chapter 8, verse 1, on the heels of the stoning of Stephen, the first martyr recorded in the New Testament, that at chapter 8, verse 1, Saul, who becomes the Apostle Paul, was consenting to his death. In fact, they had placed their robes as they were working up a sweat, killing Stephen. They had placed their robes at the feet for Paul to watch over and to guard. And then it says, on that particular day, that day that Stephen was stoned, a great persecution arose against the church in Jerusalem. And they were all scattered throughout the region of Judea and Samaria, except the apostles. They hung back. They stayed there in Jerusalem. Devout men buried Stephen and made great lamentation over him. But at the same time, Saul was ravaging the church and entering house after house, dragging off men and women, committing them to prison. Now, those who were scattered went about preaching the word. And it begins the story in the book of Acts about the story of Philip and others who found themselves in a strange territory, saying that what they knew about Jesus in Jerusalem is the same thing they know about Jesus in other parts of the world. It's a remarkable thing. And what strikes me is that while Christians are particularly peace-loving, and while authentic Christianity is holding forth, there is inevitably sometimes conflict. Sometimes conflict of conscience, or sometimes it's actually physical conflict. For me personally, I am wanting our homeland to be secure. But as I read and listen to the struggle of immigrant children on the border, I keep hearing in my ears and heart the echo of Jesus about how judgment's going to fall on those, about how we treated the poor and the immigrant and the hungry and the thirsty and the imprisoned. And it just is kind of revealing about who we are as a supposedly Christian nation, though for the first time in a long, long time, less than 50% of our populace goes to church, is behaving Christian or believing even Christian. And then even worse for me, a person who has very strong political beliefs but doesn't let you know in, though, that whenever I see and hear about the buckle belt of the Bible Belt, the buckle of the Bible Belt in Georgia, because of political motivation, regardless of, again, the words of Jesus, making it an illegal act to offer someone a drink of water or some food, even though they happen to be standing in a long line to vote, just seems so unchristian and so garish. Even for people who don't go to church, it sounds so uncouth and why would you make a decent act an illegal act? Where is it that you draw the line? And as Christians, it becomes a place where we struggle with maybe each other's thoughts and with our neighbor's thoughts, and inevitably it's nothing like being killed, and yet there's something maybe dying inside of us. On the other hand, could it be that this period of COVID and all the struggles that it instigated in us and around us and in our own psyche and in our own sociability? Could it be that this is a source of blessing that we don't see? I would simply observe that in the height of persecution, there were many people who left their homes and headed out into the hinterlands, into Galilee, into Samaria, and to other places. And as they went, they infected that population with this incredible power of Jesus. They preached him. First century Christians, after being caught up in the wake of Stephen's stoning, left their preferred and their comfortable area that had become a source of, or an arena of persecution, and found themselves in a world that they were not expecting to find themselves, and yet they found themselves still in the company of Jesus. We're kind of like that. We're leaving our safe home. We have an opportunity to now show Jesus Christ in a new territory of this community. The building that we enter into may be more marketable for some in the community that don't like see themselves going to some place that's obviously physically, structurally branded as a church. It may be that there are some people that we can share Jesus with that will come to what looks to be a bank building or an office building and be more comfortable in that. Kind of like where we started over at the Moose Lodge in the back barn. There may be something that we can do in the midst of this trauma that we're going through, leaving a home that we have felt so secure and have loved so well. We take with us somebody who loves us well. And we will find ways of sharing him in a new clime, in a new place, in a new territory, just like the first century Christians. God's not done with us. I have hope about that. And now I pray that you will have a safe and wonderful Holy Week. Easter, this Sunday, we have only the 10:30 worship service that follows a 10 o'clock Easter egg hunt for our kids. We're not having a sunrise service, no food, not even any coffee yet. We're getting close. Keep wearing your masks. I expect everyone to have their mask on at worship, because if this is kind of an usual Sunday Easter, we may lose some capacity to socially distance as well as we would like. But I encourage you to wear your mask as we come together to know that he is indeed risen. He is living in us and through us and with us. God bless my family, be with and protect our loved ones and those that are suffering right now with disease and with COVID. And I want your presence to make itself known, maybe in our thoughts and prayers, maybe in our contact of them. God, be with us as we find ourselves leaving a place that we felt at home, finding a new territory that you have journeyed with us, and that you've arrived ahead of us maybe, and that we get to still share you with a world that has no idea how much it's forgiven and how much it's loved. I give to you my family in the name of the living Christ, who leads us and who blesses us with grace and with redemption. I pray for them in his name. Amen. God bless you. See you Sunday.